Welcome to the demonstration for Manage Indexes Rebuild. This demonstration reinforces the concepts covered in Lesson 11 of the Enterprise Vault 10 for Exchange Administration course. In this demonstration, we will use the Manage Indexes tool Rebuild feature. This demonstration affords the students the opportunity to investigate and utilize the Manage Indexes and the Monitor Indexing task tools. We're going to start off on the Enterprise Vault server, server 2, and we're looking at the indexing summary. What we're going to do is we're going to go through and give our user in Kapoor, who's currently logged in, access to an archive so that we can search that archive to show that the indexing is working and allowing us to search that particular archive. We're then going to go and delete some files from that index and then go through and do another search to show that the index is broken. And then we'll use the Manage Indexes tool to go in and rebuild that index, as well as rebuilding an index that we saw in an earlier demonstration that had mixed indexing, where part of the indexing was brief and part of the indexing was full. We want to rebuild that with the new indexing setting, which is all full. So to start this off, we'll go ahead and come up to our archive section, and we want to deal with one of our Exchange mailbox archives. So then we're going to use Harriet Bonner as our demonstration archive. So I need to give the in Kapoor access to the Harriet Bonner archive. So I'll go ahead and open up the property dialog box. And then from the properties, we'll click on our permissions tab. And then we need to add the user in Kapoor, so we'll click add. And we'll scroll down until we find in Kapoor. And now we've selected in Kapoor, we can click Add. And then we click OK at the bottom. And the only permission that in Kapoor needs to be able to search the archive is the read permission, and that's the default permission that's been granted. So I can go ahead and click OK. And now I want to go and search Harriet Bonner's archive. So I'll go ahead and right-click on it and select Search Archive. And then from the search dialog box, I won't put any criteria and just click Find Now. And it found 7 archived items in Harriet Bonner's archive. So this shows me that the indexing is working, the search functionality was able to go out and find the items and be able to retrieve them. So now what I want to do is go ahead and get off the search. So I just click the Exchange Journal here to get off the search functionality. And what I want to do is I want to take Harriet Bonner's archive offline. So I'll go back to my Exchange mailbox, come over and select Harriet Bonner, and then open the Properties page. And to set it offline, I'll go to the Index Volumes tab. And I'll click the Details, that opens up the Index Volumes browser. And first, before I take it offline, let's go ahead and look at the location of this index. And we can see that it's in our index location, EV indexes. It's in the index 6 location, and the index volume is 1FDE398. So those numbers should be enough to allow us to find that folder so we can delete the files in there. So let's go ahead and take it offline. So we'll click up here by our actions, and we'll select the Set Index Volume Offline. It reminds us that we can still search the indexes while we are offline. However, we will not be able to make any changes to them. So we'll go ahead and say yes, that's what we wish to do. And we can see that our index has in fact been taken offline. So we'll go ahead and close this. And then we go ahead and click OK. And now we want to open up our Windows Explorer. And we need to navigate to that location, which was on our E drive, under the EV Indexes folder, under Index 6. And here we see the 1FDE398. And again, no other index volume folder has that value. So this is Harriet Bonner's folder, so we'll go ahead and open that up. And then we'll delete the files out of the live folder to basically break the indexing functionality. We selected the files. We can go ahead and just delete them. So I right click on them and select delete. We get the prompt to make sure we really want to remove them, so we'll say yes. And now technically our indexes are broken. So what we want to do is we want to go back and place the archive back online and search to verify that the indexing engine and the search engine that's using the indexes won't be able to search Harriet Bonner's index, so that we can rebuild it and be able to fix the problem. So go ahead and close the Windows Explorer. We'll come back to Harriet Bonner's archive and select Properties. Once again, we'll go to the Index Volumes tab. And we'll click our details to open up the Index Volumes browser. And again, you can see it's still offline. We want to place it online. So we'll click next to our Actions drop down and select the Set Index Volume Online. So we get our information about the fact that we can search and update the index once it's placed back online. So we say, yes, we do mean to do that. And now our archive has been placed back online. So we'll go ahead and close this, the Index Volumes browser. And we'll go ahead and click OK to close the Harriet Bonner's archive properties. And now we want to do another search. So we'll go ahead and go back up to Harriet Bonner's archive, select the Search Archive option, and we'll click our Find Now button again. But now we have a problem. It failed to perform the search request. So we have broken indexing, and the synchronized wouldn't be able to fix that, and we need to do a rebuild. Now, before we do a rebuild, one of the things you want to consider is the time that it may take to do the actual rebuild. It will actually find all the items that need to be indexed and retrieve those items from the archive and re-index them. And this can take a very long period of time. You may want to investigate for your larger index volumes, actually restoring them from backup tape. It may be faster to do it that way. But we have very small indexes, so the rebuild will work just fine for us. So all we need to do is to close the search function down. So we'll just click on the Exchange Journal to get out of our search option. And we want to open up the Manage Indexes tool. So we'll go ahead and go back to the Exchange mailbox, back to Harriet Bonner again, select our properties, go to Index Volumes, but this time instead of clicking Details to open the Index Volumes browser, we want to actually start the Manage Indexes utility or tool. So we start that up, and again we're going to do a rebuild this time. So we'll select the rebuild. And here's the warning that I was talking about earlier. It says that if the rebuild will actually rebuild the indexes. If they are 32-bit, they will be rebuilt into the 64-bit or upgraded to 64-bit. You can use the rebuild wizard if the synchronized wasn't able to fix it, and just realize that it is actually going to recall all the archived items that it needs to index and index those items, and it could take a very long time. So you may want to look at again or visit the idea of restoring from a backup, which may actually be quicker. So we'll go ahead and click the Next button to start our wizard. And you can see that Harriet Bonner's mailbox has already been detected as needing rebuilding, because that's the one that we had selected when we opened the Manage Indexes utility. But we need to add in the archive that we had done in a previous demonstration where we had Graham Smith have both brief and full indexing in their index volume, and we want to rebuild that so it'll all be full. So we'll go ahead and click our Add button here, and we'll select the archive. Now that opens up, and we have the Add Index Volumes dialog box open, and we're going to go ahead and clear our current attributes that are selected. So we'll go ahead and click our Clear All. And the thing that we were working with for Graham Smith's archive was the mixed indexing level, so we'll select that option and click our Search button. And you can see that it did find Graham Smith's archive. So we can go ahead and click Add. And then once it's been added in, we click OK. And we now have the two indexes to be rebuilt, Graham Smith's and Harriet Bonner's. So we go ahead and click Next. And it gives our task a name. And then we have error handling. And we're going to go ahead and mark the ignore items that cannot be indexed. And then we'll click Next. We get our summary and we're ready to create the actual task itself. So we click our Create Task. And it says that the rebuild task was created. So we'll go ahead and click our Monitor task to open up the Monitor Indexing Task tool. And we can see that our rebuild is listed here. So we'll go ahead and click the Rebuild task to go down and see the subtasks. And we have our Graham Smith and our Harriet Bonner archives to be rebuilt. If I select my Graham Smith, you can see that it has been completed, both Graham Smith and Harriet Bonner. And again, these are very small indexes, so the rebuild did not take very long. But if you've been indexing for a very long time and you have many items in the index volumes and many index volumes to rebuild, the rebuild could take a very long time. So again, kind of consider the rebuild as the last resort for trying to get an index back. But let's look what it did for Graham Smith. So we'll open up the subtask details for the rebuild for Graham Smith. And it shows you the archive name. There was no errors. It added 30 items into the list. And we can go ahead and click OK. And then we also have Harriet Bonner's details. And again, we got Harriet Bonner. It added 7 items, no errors. So go ahead and click OK. And then we can go ahead and close our monitor indexing task. Means everything is completed. And we can click our OK button. And if we come back down to our indexing node, we can see that we have our 45-bit or 64-bit indexes with none being failed. And that brings us to the end of this demonstration.